I spent 32 years married to a woman with one rule written in stone. Don't step foot on my family farm. Margaret would haggle about anything. Paint colors, anniversary trips, the moral necessity of a $900 coffee maker, but say, farm, and the shutters came down like a bank vault. I pictured a haunted wheat field, a scarecrow with opinions, and cows singing in minor keys. Safer to nod and mow my suburban lawn. Then Margaret died. At the will reading, the lawyer slid me an old iron key like he was dealing a final hand of poker. The farm, he said. It's yours. My sensible plan. Sell it sight unseen, buy a beach chair in Mexico, argue about salt rims for sport. But there's a booby trap in long marriages. Tell a man never, and you might as well pin a neon sign to it that reads, "Open me last." 2 days later, I was piloting my Honda down Canadian backroads the GPS swore were roads, bracing for cobwebs and a raccoon union meeting. Instead, I rolled up to Greenwood Farm, which looked less livestock and more BBC period drama. White fences in perfect lines, pastures with calendar horses, a farmhouse that belonged on a wine label, not a tax roll. The front door was a slab of oak that made me stand up straight. Inside, not dust. A private museum. Oil paintings like they'd been borrowed from the Louvre. Sculpture, crystal, antique furniture with pedigrees. A kitchen touched by angels and a library shelved in leather and first editions that smelled like old vellum and money. Margaret, what were you hiding? On an antique desk sat a sleek laptop draped with a single red rose. Her sticky note, for Henry. Another, password the day we met, plus my maiden name. Naimi1691 Patterson. The screen bloomed and there she was, alive on video in this very room, that familiar spark in her eyes. Hi, Henry. If you're watching this, I'm gone, and you finally come to the farm. There are things I never told you. Before I could finish the video, tires crunched the gravel. Black SUV, 3 men poured out like they'd been ordered from a catalog titled Affluent Men Who Think They're the Point. Margaret's brothers, Gerald, Thomas, and Patrick, the unholy trinity of condescension. Suits, smiles like shark fins. Knuckles rapping the door like they expected a butler. We need to talk about the farm, Gerald called, using that lawyerly tone that means we've already decided for you. I did what any rational widower with a mysterious laptop would do. Locked the door and pressed play. Margaret's message laid groundwork. Then breadcrumbs, more videos, folders, a plan. Morning found me in the stables with Arthur, the hat-wearing, sun-creased horse manager Margaret had hired. She spent her last years rebuilding this place, he said. Always said one day Henry will come. He led me to the oldest barn. We shifted hay, lifted a disguised floor. A ladder descended into a finished underground room, part NASA, part bank vault. Walls of geological maps, filing cabinets labeled with precision. A folder heavy as a brick, oil surveys, Arthur said. Best cruise money can buy. You're sitting on a sea of it. I opened the summary. Even a man who once bought the wrong motor oil could read the numbers. This wasn't a farm. It was a quiet empire. Margaret had hidden it from me, but not from time. The next familiar rattle in the drive wasn't an SUV. It was my daughter Lily's beat-up Honda. She stepped out in one of her mother's sweaters, eyes swollen. Uncle Gerald called, she said. He says you're being unfair. That Mom meant the farm to be shared. Maybe hear him out? Of course Gerald called my grieving kid. I showed her Margaret's videos instead. 3 days later, the brothers returned with a convoy. Gerald's battleship SUV, a silver Mercedes, and a white Range Rover. Out stepped an oil executive named Richard Payton. Hair professionally buoyant, shoes worth a mortgage payment, 2 young suits flanking him like punctuation. He started a pitch. I poured coffee. Then I set Margaret's laptop at the head of the long table and hit play, her recorded testimony about her brother's lifelong habit of monetizing relatives. After that, I laid out the real surveys, the size of the reserves and, crucially, where the best pools were. Watching Richard's face cycle through denial, suspicion, and finally, oh no, was the best entertainment I'd had since the Oilers last made a run. The brothers left without contracts, lawyers, or leverage, just that stunned silence rich people get when the script stops obeying. I thought we were done. 2 days later, Gerald returned alone, sapped of color and arrogance. He stood in my doorway, hands shaking. I'm sick, he said. The same heart condition that killed Margaret. I need a transplant. I was hoping... He swallowed. Lily could test. The audacity took my breath and gave it back as laughter I tried to keep in my throat. You tried to take my land, I said. Now you want my daughter's organs? He looked genuinely terrified. For the first time since I'd known him, the mask had slipped. I remembered Margaret's thoroughness, rifled the desk, found a sealed envelope labeled for Gerald. Her letter detonated quietly. Years ago, Margaret had discovered the family secret her parents buried: 2 children. Rebecca and David, placed for adoption before the wealth arrived. She'd found them, kept in touch, assembled medical histories, and learned both were perfect genetic matches for their biological siblings, Gerald included. In the envelope were phone numbers, context, and Margaret's final instruction: fix it. Gerald got his surgery. Not from my daughter, from the family his parents discarded. Meanwhile, with Margaret's lawyers, I signed a deal that threaded her impossible needle, responsibly drilled, tightly overseen, profits stretched across trusts and time. Wealth that wouldn't rot the bones. The brothers evaporated toward their country clubs. Oil execs learned a dead woman had run rings around them. Lily moved into the farmhouse to help, which translated to painting in Margaret's studio and remembering how to breathe. Thunder, a very large gelding, still sneezes on me with affection. The mare they call Princess snacks on my hats. Arthur drinks my coffee like it's a birthright. I stopped complaining. The man knows things, and Margaret, God help me, still talks. Her videos cover contracts, pasture rotation, and, because she never could resist, reminders to eat better and call our daughter on her birthday. Even from the other side, she keeps the big levers steady. Spring finally pushed winter off the land. I sit on a porch I wasn't allowed to stand on in life, looking out at a place I once thought held ghosts. Turns out it held a plan, for justice, for protection, for me. I used to imagine the farm as a haunted field and a bony scarecrow. I was wrong. The only thing haunted here is the careful love of a woman who built a chessboard under our feet and kept moving pieces long after she was gone. Until the vultures flew off, our daughter came home, and the man she married learned to start over with mud on his boots and paint under his nails. The farm is mine now. Finally. And for a place I wasn't allowed to visit our whole marriage? It's not half bad.